Howdy, guys. A good Monday evening to y'all. Hope everyone is doing fantastic. It works kind of well to have the Big Brother show and then leading into this, so we get to talk a little bit about it. I'm glad we didn't have any football games getting in the way or anything else. It was a little hectic last week, but hey, welcome back. If y'all are watching, I'm glad y'all found me, and if you aren't, well, can't hear me anyway. But I hope y'all are doing fantastic, guys. Yeah, we're going to talk all about the episode and what's going on. It's crazy. We're going to talk every bit about it. Chicky D, thank you so much for the animation. I appreciate it. Mr. Buchanan, howdy. Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to all my Canadian friends out there. I hope y'all are enjoying your celebrations. It's my understanding y'all don't have turkeys up there. Well, not that you don't have turkeys. You don't have turkeys as part of a big Thanksgiving celebration quite the way we have down here. Y'all eat snow goose or snow geese? Geese? I guess it's geese up there. Probably not. But hey, happy Canadian Day to all of y'all, and hope y'all enjoying a long weekend. While we're waiting for a few people to come in here, yeah, it's pretty exciting as well. Welcome to all the new viewers that are on here that have come from either seeing my updates in the morning that I've been putting on Instagram and YouTube. If you found me through that, welcome aboard, and we're going to have fun talking for the next hour about Big Brother. Anyone else? The new thing that TVCO has started, and we started last week, but I think it's kind of rolling up, getting really going this week, is we're also streaming on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and the Twitch platform. So a lot of people finding us in different ways, and I'm so happy for it. I almost forgot. I have to start off the show the way I always do. SKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids, and love all the fellow Big Brother fans that come out here and let us talk Big Brother on a weekly basis. Thank you, Aaron. A fancy setup. Yeah, I'm moving up in the world. Backgrounds. I got so many complaints about my maroon curtains behind me for the first 30 episodes or so I did of this show. So yeah, I'm moving right up in the world. Now I just need to make these this diary room real. Maybe I can do that next year or something. We shall see. Hey, TV Talk to Tom. We kind of bracketed it, Tom, didn't we? You do it right before the show. I do it right afterwards, and we get Big Brother taken care of. Miles DC, what is for dinner? You know what? My schedule is so messed up because I do those overnight wrap-ups. I'm up all night long watching the live feed. So I don't know. My dinner is going to be taking place about 2 or 3 o'clock in the evening. So I got a little ways to go. Heck, I just had lunch a little while ago. It's hard. I love doing these wrap-ups, but it does do a number on sleep schedules and such. And there is nothing worse than sitting there at 3 o'clock in the morning, 3:30 in the morning, having problems keeping your eyes open, and then they cut to the stars and the Big Brother songs over and over again. And you're sitting there the whole time debating, all right, is that it? Do I just need to go ahead and go to bed? Or do I wait just a little bit longer just in case someone comes back on the air and we get a little bit more information? Howdy, Alpha Cat. Always welcome to have you in, late or not. And Cross Track Whataburger. Yeah, Whataburger sounds fantastic. I'm ready for that. Let's see. I'm going to try to keep up with this. Malsa Mommy, first time here. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for coming on. And again, we're going to talk all kinds of questions. In fact, let's go ahead and start getting into it. First of all, I talked about some new platforms that we're streaming on, and I'm really excited about that. The other thing, last week, kind of in celebration as we kicked that off, TVCO was grateful enough to award a $50 Amazon gift card to viewers of Cliff Notes. And just to let y'all know, the winner of the $50 gift card is Courtney J. Courtney, congratulations, my friend. Check your DMs on the TVCO app, within the TVCO app, and there should be instructions on how to claim the gift card, and go out and buy something fun with it. Hey, you can buy anything you want when we're talking about Amazon, right? I talk about Thanksgiving for our Canadian neighbors. A couple other things going on before we talk about Big Brother, and I promise we will. A couple of national days today. One, National Farmers Day. So shout out to the farmers of the world that keep us all fed. I grew up, all my brothers were all future farmers of America. They raised cattle and crops, and not crops. We lived in the suburbs. So they raised animals and things like that. I was the engineer in the family. I said, yeah, I don't want to mess with the animals. I'll just do my engineering type stuff. But hey, props to the farmers. I think of you every time I'm eating my food, because you can only live on canned Spam for so long, right? The other thing going on is today is National Gumbo Day. Love me some gumbo. Thoughts out to Western Louisiana, where I always get my gumbo, my boudin, my jambalaya, all those Cajun dishes. They've gotten hit by Hurricane Laura and then Hurricane Delta, so they've had a hard time over there. And with COVID, I haven't had a chance to go over there to Lafayette and New Orleans and all those areas, but I am ready to go back. I was so disappointed. They had the casting call for Big Brother 22. It's supposed to be in New Orleans. And I was going to go over there. I was going to hang with Robin Cass and all the casting people and meet everyone in New Orleans and just hang out while everyone's trying out for the show. And it was right before COVID hit. They canceled the casting call, so I didn't get to go over there. And so, yeah, New Orleans is on my docket to go back and visit as soon as we get through with the last bit of this quarantine. Okay, let's see. A couple more on here. Chickadee, I see Bella 609 and Chickadee again. Thanks to both of y'all for the animations. I appreciate it. Collie Mom, I know I'm going to try to stay up until midnight to get some Prime deals. I forgot about Prime, Amazon Prime Day. I need to do some checking and all that as well. That's all I need, is to have a whole lot of stuff starting to get delivered to the house. Hey, it gives me something to do to open up while I'm waiting for the live feeds to come back on. All right. I could talk all day and never get into Big Brother, and I know y'all are saying, stop this stuff, Cliff. Let's talk about Big Brother. So what did y'all think about the episode? I'm going to try to follow along with the notes as well. Nicole finally wins at HOH, and Christmas. You know what? What's the worst thing in the world? It's not to lose a competition when you really need to win it. It's to lose a competition and yet come so close that everyone looks at you and says, oh, man, she came close. She is a huge threat going forward. So it was kind of the worst possible situation for Christmas from a mental standpoint, to know that she was so close. But then also to now have people just looking at her as potentially being that much more strong of a competitor for that kind of competition. So yeah, that was pretty rough for her. And Courtney saying Janelle was right. Nicole would roll out of bed week 9 and win comps. I think Nicole needed to win this competition. I think obviously if Christmas had won or Memphis had won, either one, then Nicole almost certainly is on the block. Now, maybe she wouldn't have gone home. It very well could be that. Well, could Cody have gone home instead? But as I think about it, probably not, because you would have had voters as Enzo and Christmas, for example, and Memphis breaking the tie if he was HOH. And in that case, I think Cody would have. I don't know. I think Nicole may still have gone home. Memphis may have watched out for Cody. We will never know, will we? But no, it's important for Nicole to win, not just because it protects herself, but I feel like she needed some resume builders if she goes into a final 2, because I've said before, she's going to be going into the very end saying, look, I didn't win anything because I didn't need to win anything. Yeah, people dragged me along because I played the social game that let people drag me along. So she really was going to use that as her argument. But now she can come in and say, but hey, I won when I needed to. So it's not that I couldn't win. I just was selective about the competitions that I chose to win. So yeah, that was interesting. All right, B Haas. I was gonna talk about this because that was a funny part of that show. No lock on the bathroom door. Does it even lock? No, it does not lock, and that was quite the surprise for me when I was inside the Big Brother house. We had, I don't know how, it's been a few seasons past, but we did have a few years ago that a female house guest passed out while she was in the bathroom. Just, I don't know, she was stressed out and weak, hadn't been eating well and sick and some things like that. And so she passed out. And I think from that point on, they removed the lock from the bathroom. When you go in there, you can see where there used to be a little hook and eye that you could close that bathroom door, keep it locked. No more. Now, you've got a little switch you can turn. It says occupied or vacant. So people theoretically, when they walk up to the door, can see if someone's in there or not. But you never know. As we saw tonight, sometimes people pay attention to it, sometimes don't. We didn't have that many situations last season where people walked in. I would try when I was in there to, if I heard someone coming, I'd either holler out or I would kind of grab the door and hold it just in case, and try not to let anyone surprise me too much. But yeah, no locks on the door. There's no privacy in the house. Why should there be privacy inside the bathroom as well? And it is a little, talk about paranoia. There is a camera. If you look up in that bathroom straight up, there is a camera pointing straight down on you while you're in there. Now, we were told that the only time that camera would ever be used is if there was more than one person in the bathroom together. If two people were in there trying to conspire, do game talk, things like that, then they had the right to turn the cameras on. But the rest of the time, we were told, no, they're not going to be on. No one's going to be watching anything else. It's just there just in that case, or if there's an emergency situation, if someone's in there doesn't respond or whatever. But it just hits home that there is zero privacy throughout that entire house, except for the HOH shower. And there are some people in my season who took advantage of that, and we will leave that alone right there. What else? Courtney J. Hey, Courtney J. Congratulations. I figured you'd be out here. Nicole was like Enzo and really didn't need to win until now. Is right. Now you're right. And Enzo, and I did some lists, and maybe we'll get into him here in a little bit, but Enzo is in a pretty interesting position. I think he has played himself into a very solid third. I think it's going to be hard for him to win this entire competition, the whole game, but he's not on anyone's list as the number one target. So I don't think that, regardless of who wins this Thursday, I don't think Enzo heads home. I don't think. Expect the unexpected, but I think Enzo's played himself into a final three. And then who knows what happens once you get into those last few competitions. Let's see. Mouths of Mommy. Are these people not even remembering that she's won in the past? Nicole, that's been my most fun part of watching this season. I wish the house had flipped back and forth, power structure, things like that and such, but it's been fun watching the different strategic plays. You've got someone like Cody, who is a competition beast. He's controlled the house. He has all these different alliances. And then you have Nicole, and she's not really been as involved with the alliances. She's not won as many competitions, and she hadn't won any until this week. And so it's just a completely different type of situation. Lefty, thank you so much for the animation. I appreciate it. And yet here Nicole is. And at the very start of the season, we knew that Nicole and Ian were going to be huge targets because they had both won before. And I don't know, have we reached a point where everyone is sitting there saying, well, I don't necessarily want to send Nicole out the door now because I think I could take her to the final two and win against her because she's won before, and people will tend not to give her votes. I don't know. I think that's coming into play a little bit, but I think it has a lot more to do with who she is aligned with in terms of Cody and Enzo, and it served her well. There's nothing wrong with Nicole's game. I don't know. I was gonna say it's a little different game than I would play. It's not like I was a comp beast either, but it's just different. She's just been very back, laying low on the radar, and yet she's done what she needs to do. Collie Mom, oh funny, I thought I saw a lock. Yeah, there used to be a lock on there, but no more. What you're seeing is a little knob we turn that says vacant or closed. We need a big old flag on that thing. It would work a lot better. Seeing the HOH room, Enzo's feet. Yeah, no, I'm a little jealous. No one's asked to see don't send me things asking to see my feet. Enzo, when I was watching live feeds, they were talking about his feet and his stalkers. I gotta say, there are some interesting people that follow house guests out there, and fortunately, I haven't had to deal with as much as some of the younger folks in the house that tend to attract sometimes different kinds of fans sometimes. That's kind of that was kind of interesting that Enzo had, and Enzo plays along with it. A lot of people just ignore those messages, move on. Enzo's had fun with it, so I don't know. As long as they're in some weird page that shows up with nothing but pictures of his feet. And yes, I know there's already a site that does just that. Bell saying, I definitely did not need to see Enzo's feet. No, I didn't either. but whoever said, they're right. It gets harder and harder when I do these feeds in the middle of the night because there's fewer people in that house. When we first started, there's 16, 15, 14. You always have conversations going on. Somewhere, someone is yelling at someone that we can report on. By the time we get to this stage of the game, I looked up last night, and Enzo, well, he's upstairs in the HOH room for a while, but Enzo spends a lot of time in the photo room just by himself. And when you're by yourself, you're not doing a lot of talking. It's a little more boring for us to watch the live feeds, and it's going to be even a little more interesting as we go through the next week as things kind of settle out. Hey, Crosstrack, thank you for the animation so much. Let's see. Courtney Jason, I was rewatching Big Brother 1. They had a camera in the stall. B. Haas, I love that animation. Thank you. Had a camera in the stall and in the shower. Yeah, there's international versions of Big Brother, and they're not nearly as censored as they are here in the United States. Let's say they show everything, and no one worries too much about revealing anything at all. So hey, different strokes for different folks, I suppose. We're a little more careful here in the U.S., but yeah, some places they've got the cameras absolutely everywhere. Bell saying, I wish we could get live feeds from the jury house. Yeah, it was fun finally getting to see the jury house in the last episode and seeing how everyone got together. I really wanted to see what happened when Danny showed up and everyone else was already in the house and seeing her. And it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see these next couple of people when they head to the jury house. Now that's something to talk about. We're down to 5 people. The next person who goes out the door, and I don't know who it's going to be yet. I mean, who do y'all think? I'm thinking it may be Memphis. I'm thinking it may be Memphis that heads out the door next. He will go to the jury house, and he'll be there for quite a week or so. But what y'all may or may not know is that the 4th person kicked out of the house, such as Cliff Hogg last season, does not go to the jury house. Instead, as soon as they're booted, they spend a night in a hotel, sequestered away, and you don't talk or see anyone. And then the next night, they took me over to the jury roundtable. And that's the first time I got to meet with the whole rest of the jury. And we had Dr. Will there. We talked about how people had played, which way we were leaning in terms of votes, things like that. And then when we got done with that whole little get-together, then they sent us all back to our sequester spots. The jury house was shut down at that point in time. So, yeah, I didn't know. I had no clue. I thought, well, at least I get 1 week of jury house now that I've been booted since I don't stay to the very end. They said, nah, Cliff, you're not going to the jury house. You're just going to your little sequester spot instead, which wasn't nearly as nice. So that's going to happen the same thing. Memphis, if he goes home, he'll get a week in the jury house, and then whoever's next just doesn't get jury house. Courtney J, I'm still rooting for Enzo to win it all. As far as I know, he didn't pregame, wasn't in the committee alliance. If he makes it to final 2, he deserves the win. I agree with you, and I like Enzo. There is a very good possibility I'll be casting some votes Enzo's way for America's favorite player, which I assume they're still going to do. I haven't heard any talk about it yet, but I assume that we'll get that opportunity here before too long. I think Enzo's played a great game. I just don't know that he's played the game that's going to get him to that's going to get him to the very end, because he's so lined up with Nicole and Cody, especially Cody. And I just think Cody wins it. If he goes to the end with Enzo, he gets it. If it was Enzo versus Memphis, I think that's Enzo's path to victory. But I just haven't seen evidence that Enzo's going to pull a trigger and make this big move. He talks a lot about big moves, right? He tells everybody, yo, man, yeah, make your big move, call your shot, make it happen, and be that big force. That never quite seemed to work that way when when Enzo has the power, does it. So I don't expect to see Enzo to flip on Cody. I think he's going to like the idea of going to the very end and just taking his chances. And unfortunately for Enzo, I don't think that translates to a win for him if he does that. Lefty saying, would you vote for a previous winner? I would like to think so, Lefty. Last season, I went in saying, okay, when I make my vote, I'm going to take emotion completely out of the equation. I'm not voting for or against someone based on how they treated me, whether they betrayed me, said mean things about me, whatever. I was going to vote strictly on 3 things: how they handled the jury, how they did on the competitions, and how their overall social game went throughout the season. And for last season, obviously it came down to Mickey versus Holly. I felt like Holly had won the jury management phase because Mickey said bad things and just didn't handle it well to myself and a lot of the people going out the door. But I thought that he had definitely won the competition side of it. And from a social game standpoint, strategy play, things like that, I thought he won it as well. So I tried to be completely analytical in how I made my decision. And I think I would do the same thing here. If Nicole's up there, even if she's won before, I just feel like you have to award proper gameplay. I guess I'm a purist at heart when it comes down to it, and I wouldn't want to penalize anyone for things that happened outside this particular season's worth of playing the game, just as I don't want anyone to have advantages before they come into the house. We had Tommy and Christy knew each other last season, Holly and Kat. You had pre-gaming that supposedly occurred this season. I don't like any of that. I don't want to award that for happening because I think the game should be based strictly on what happens inside the game. But the reality is sometimes that just doesn't happen. Bell69 saying, are they through with slop? Yeah, they're all through with it. They don't like doing slop and have-nots towards the very end where there's so few players, and they want everyone to feel like they're on top of their game from a physical standpoint, from a mental standpoint. So, I mean, where's the point? You've got 5 people after Thursday. You're going to have 4 people, and one of those people is going to win $500,000. So you want to be on top of your game, and you don't want anything to blame it on. You don't want to say, if I just hadn't been on slop, I would have dominated this last half, but because of that. So, yeah, they are through with slop. I'm just almost positive with it. All right, here's a little thing for y'all that a lot of y'all probably do not know. When we wake up in the morning, when Big Brother wakes us up, they play 3 songs, and the feeds are off during those songs for copyright issues, things like that, which means we can sing along, and we don't get to pick the songs, but we get to sing along and listen to music for just a little while. But last season, right about Final 4, I think, this music came on, and as soon as the music finished up, I was in the shower, other people were in other parts of the house, and all of a sudden Big Brother came on and said, house guest, just remember, one of y'all is just 3 steps away from winning $500,000. Good luck. You talk about putting the pressure on you real quick when you hear a little conversation like that and realize that it's just so close to getting the big prize. So, yeah, Big Brother likes to ramp up the screws a little bit when they get the chance to. PVG fan says, I don't understand why they don't have a lock in the bathroom. It's really just for safety measures, I think, in case something was to happen, so you don't have to break down the door if there's someone that's not responding in there. And part of it's just they don't want anyone to ever feel like they have too much privacy anywhere in that house. Now, you can lock the HOH room upstairs. And I know some people, I think Memphis locked his door all the time. And some people lock it when they're not in there. I never did that. When I was HOH, I told everyone, said, you don't even have to ask me. If you need to go to the bathroom up here, just go to the bathroom up there. If you need to come in the middle of the night, come in the middle of the night. I don't care at all. But other people aren't like that. That's the one place in the house that you truly can lock the door. I guess that's your honor, your title if you're HOH. So different people handle it different ways. Let's see. Multimami, why do you think the live feeds go down so much? There's some reasons I understand, some of them I don't. If someone is singing along or even humming or whistling, they have to shut you down for that. If you're starting to tell a story that involves people that maybe haven't signed a disclosure agreement, they have to shut it down for that. Sometimes there'll be quick little shutdowns because something's being said on a loudspeaker about, we're going to have a lockdown in 2 hours so maintenance can come in and do some work. Little things like that. But there's a lot of times where feeds just go down for random reasons, and it always happens just when there's something really important coming up message-wise, right? I think sometimes it really is done because there's conversations that they don't want us as live feeders to see because they would rather save it for the actual episode on CBS. So I suspect some of that as well. But even beyond that, I don't know. I don't know if it's just a cameraman that needs to go take a smoke break every once in a while and they're limited on the people because of COVID. I mean, I say that jokingly, but I don't know what the manpower is like with COVID going on. There could be situations where people are having to rotate or they're moving cameras around or something for some reason because of that. I don't know. Here's the other thing y'all don't know. Just because we're in the house, I still don't know what happened outside the house in terms of the cameras and production and things like that. Even at the very end, when I was evicted, we were never allowed to see what was outside the house. We never got any inside scoop after the season had wrapped. None of us were invited to go back in and look at the house from inside the windows or anything else. So to this day, I don't know how many cameramen were involved in filming or exactly what the logistics is of that operation, even a normal situation with COVID, especially. Who knows? Some people want to go back and play Big Brother again, and I certainly, if I got the call, I would be back in a heartbeat to play again. But I personally would love to just be able to go out to California and spend a few days and just follow Allison Grodner around or some of the other executive producers and just get a behind the scenes look at what actually goes into Big Brother. Man, give me an iPhone. Let me record all of that with the promise that I won't broadcast it until Big Brother wraps 40 years from now or however long this show's going to last. But I would just love to be able to get the behind the scenes of what goes on a day-to-day basis for Big Brother, because the logistics involved in filming all of us inside the house has got to be incredible. All right, sorry guys, I was kind of getting off the strategy talk of Big Brother. It'll be Memphis. Bell's saying it'll be Memphis, but I'm ready for Christmas to go. I think you're right, and it's been interesting watching the discussion about Memphis versus Christmas and who goes home. I really thought Nicole was going to want to send Christmas out the door, just because Christmas had voted to send Nicole home, and I thought there'd be a little more animosity there, but I think Nicole is starting to see that there may be value to having another woman in house with her that may support Nicole more than Cody and Enzo. And Nicole now knows about the Wise Guys alliance with Memphis. Of course, Christmas is in one of those Wise Guys as well. But I do think Nicole probably does not want to be in a house of three guys and just herself. So it's starting to make sense why she would want Memphis out the door. Cody obviously wants Memphis out the door, knowing that Memphis is absolutely gunning for him. Of course, so is Christmas. That's Cody's issue right now, right? As well as Cody has played, he's got one big hurdle, I think, left to go that he has to get past, and that's not even the HOH competition that's coming up Thursday, but really the veto competition on the following Saturday. If Cody wins HOH on Thursday, he's golden. He's good. But if not, and he doesn't win that veto competition on Saturday, say Memphis goes home and Christmas is still in this house and she wins that veto on Saturday, she decides who goes home. That's it. And I think she sends Cody out the door in a heartbeat. So everything that Cody has put together, one bad competition is all it would take, and his game is over. The house is flipped. What happens when Cody goes out the door and you've got a final, what would that be? Final three of Enzo and Christmas and Nicole. How interesting would that be? Who takes who wins those final competitions? It would be very interesting to see. I kind of hope to see that just to shake things up a little bit at the end. Nothing against Cody. Cody's played a fantastic game, but that's Cody's one last hurdle, I think, because I think if he makes it to final three, I think he wins the whole thing. I think he wins those final competitions. He drags along probably Nicole, and I think he gets the vote automatically. Let's see, what else? Breaking up the showmance. Yeah, thoughts on a possible showmance with Memphis and Christmas? B. Haas asking. I see some other comments on here as well. I'm being very careful because I watched the live feeds when they were in the hold on, guys, let me adjust this just a little bit. Any better? I watched the live feeds, and I saw after the lights were out that Christmas went over to Memphis's bed. She leaned down very close to him, and there's people who've talked about that they kissed. I'm telling you, they did not show that, guys. They did not show it. The blankets were in the way. Yes, we've got night vision, but it's still not quite as clear as the regular cameras. You don't have as many cameras, so as many angles. All we saw was her lean very close to Memphis, and it really sounds like more she was whispering in his ear, saying something she didn't want the microphones to pick up, a dirty joke or something like that. Knowing that both of them have significant others at home, the last thing I'm going to do is push along a rumor that the two of them kissed, because I don't know that's the fact, and I don't think anyone else knows it either. So I'm not saying a kiss occurred. I kind of think that it didn't. But the reality is we don't know one way or the other. But here's another thing to think about. When when you're playing that game, especially when you get this far into the game and you've got someone that you've been working with for so long, you really tend to bond with that person. Even more so when the two of you are both on the block. You bond, you create, you feel like that's the one person that understands what you're going through. Even though you may have to throw them under the bus and campaign against them, it's still someone that can relate to what you're going through. And the other house guests tend to look at you funny when you're on the block. They don't necessarily want to talk to you too much. They don't want to associate with you. It's kind of sometimes it's an awkward situation, but that other person on the block can commensurate with you and talk. And I think a lot of that's happening now with Christmas in Memphis, where they feel like they're the two outsiders with this other group of three. And so the bonding has occurred. I think they're a lot more chummy with each other than they've been in the past. Part of it, too, is they were trying to hide previously that they were working together. Well, at this point in time, you don't need to hide it. Everyone knows that the two of them are fairly tight with one another. So they're able to hang out with each other a lot more, and I think they like each other. But to take it to the level of showmance, I don't think that's happening. I really don't. I think it's just them connecting with someone else that's in a similar situation as they are. So I'll just leave that at that. All right, let's see. Would you go on another season of Big Brother? Alexander Dean asked. I saw your question on that on Instagram earlier. Absolutely. Yeah, sure. I have to talk to my wife and make sure she's okay with it. But yeah, if I got another chance to do it, I would be back in a heartbeat. I don't know if that'll happen because I don't think we'll have All Stars again for a while. And who knows? I saw someone that posted a thing saying, "Oh, Cliff, you and Donnie could come back for season 36 or something." So 14 years. Yeah, it'd be about 70. We met the geriatric guys. That may be a different kind of Big Brother if we came back in 14 years from now. But yeah, I'd be back in a heartbeat. Any of the reality shows, Amazing Race, Survivor, Big Brother. I don't ever say no to adventure. So sure, I would go back. But in the meanwhile, I'm having a lot of fun just watching, and you know, it's a whole lot less stress when you're not in the house, when you're able to watch it from this side of the screen and do your judgments, your analysis, your criticisms, and a lot easier when you know everything that's going on. Top Gun, would you go on the Amazing Race? Yeah, I'd go on the Amazing Race. I've already thought it'd be fun to do Amazing Race with Nicole Anthony or with Kat Dunn, either one of them. Just fun people to hang with. I've been all over the world, so I feel comfortable with my ability to travel. Then you get someone like Nicole Anthony, who's never been anywhere. She didn't even have a passport until after she got out of the Big Brother house. So, yeah, the two of us trying to race together, and of course, old and young and athletic, not so athletic. It would be a fun contrast if we did the Amazing Race together. So, yeah, and I love Amazing Race. I love traveling, so that'd be fantastic. Let's see. Isn't Memphis married? I couldn't remember if he was married or divorced. I don't know exactly what his relationship is, but yeah, I don't want. It's tough. We're in that house, and I don't want to see anything that occurs there that affects you in real life. Sometimes it does. It's just the nature of being on camera 24 hours a day, and sometimes things are said, things are done that do affect real world deals. But if there isn't 100% certainty, the last thing I want is to have repercussions for that going forward. So let's see. Cliff should have been on All Stars. The whole family was reading for you and Nicole last season. Well, thank you, Belle. I appreciate it. I had fun. And here's the thing. Yeah, it would have been cool to get called All Stars, but just the fact that my name was thrown out as a possibility, that's pretty cool. Right there, as many people have played this game, to even be considered that people don't immediately just laugh and say, yeah, right, in a million years. That's kind of cool. I'm pretty proud of that. League City, MCKT03. Howdy, neighbor. Yeah, I'm just up the road from you. Teresa G, thank you for the animation so much. Are there any secret conversations that happen when the music is playing in the morning? I'm sure there probably are. I never really participated in any. Part of it's because I was trying to always get in the shower when the music was playing, because I like to sing in the shower, and that's the one time I could sing. I didn't always even sing the song that was being played. Some of the music they picked was not the music I listened to quite as much. They didn't play a lot of country music, things like that. But so sometimes I'd play a song I didn't recognize. So I'd just jump onto my own Elvis Presley or something and sing along. So I personally did not have a lot of conversations. Now, we were warned, do not have conversations when music's playing, because if you do, we will stop the music so that we can record you. And then everyone's going to be upset with you. And I didn't catch that as much in the mornings, but sometimes like on Thursdays, the feeds go down a lot on Thursdays before eviction, and it's because the house guests are locked down upstairs in the HOH room while people are setting shots up for cameras and things like that. Who knows what goes on because we're locked away, but we're locked upstairs, and they play music for us during that time, and we are warned all the time. If you talk game while you're up here, we will stop the music, and all the other house guests are going to hate you as a result. And it happened a few times, and everyone will immediately look over and see who was whispering over in the corner and start pointing fingers at them. So they are very serious about that. Alexander Deem, why did you choose to evict Tommy instead of Holly in the final 5? You know what? Now, you can ask the question. You certainly aren't the first, and you are not going to be the last. I stand by the decision. But here's the thing. It kind of compares to this season just a little bit from a strategy standpoint. Do you go with do you try to boot the person that is the strongest competition threat, or do you boot the person that may not be as strong a competition threat but has a tighter relationship with someone else that's still in the game? And that's what Nicole and I were facing when we were trying to choose between Tommy and Mickey. I mean, we knew that Mickey and Holly had a relationship, and that no matter what he promised, there was a possibility he was going to go back on it so he could save Holly. We knew that was a possibility, but we had to contrast that against Tommy and the fact that he was such a strong competitor, especially with us thinking that we were going to have a lot of mental competitions at the end of the game. And I had seen Tommy. We were practicing bird calls. I watched him going over his dates and numbers and everything. He had everything spot on, completely down. He knew every day. As soon as you'd say day, he knew exactly what had happened. He was just and I'd seen him compete in the poison ivy competition, some of the other endurance comps, and I knew how strong a competitor he was in those particular games. So it really came down to, yeah, dude, we could break up the relationship between Mickey and Holly, but then we're stuck with a strong competitor. And at the end, the idea that Nicole and I were going to be going up against both Tommy and Mickey on the other side, as opposed to Mickey and Holly, who we didn't see nearly as much of a competition threat, is what made the difference. Because the other thing, as much as people say, hey, Cliff, y'all need to break up the relationship, if Mickey and Tommy are there in the house and Nicole and I are there, either one of them, if they have control, I think they would have tried to break Nicole and us up for the same reason people wanted us to break Mickey and Holly up. So, yeah, it's tough. And at the end of the day, it's because Nicole and I were playing for first place and not for third place. And we really thought our best chance to make final 2 was if we had a final 3 of Nicole and myself and Holly. And so we did what we did. Yeah, I stand by it. But, hey, it's kind of like hitting on 16 when you're playing blackjack. The odds are a little bit against you. You may go broke, but that doesn't mean the strategy wasn't still good to start with. So we took our chance. We were going for the top. We were shooting for number 1, and we felt that's what we had to do to make it. Christmas, thank you for the animation. Welcome back, maybe from last week. So thank you for the animation. Top Gun fan, yeah, they've gone down a whole lot this whole season. Behas, the strategy is let Christmas win. You know what? I hadn't thought about that, but I really think Christmas is, if Christmas wins this Saturday, as I said, it could really cause disruption for Cody. But who does Christmas win against? If Christmas makes it final 2, I don't think she wins against Cody. I don't think she wins against Enzo. I think she could win against Nicole. But if you're Enzo, do you think if Christmas wins wins veto? If I'm Enzo, I don't think she's going to send me out the door with that veto, power veto. I think she's going to send Cody out the door. So if Enzo is really thinking strategically and he thinks there's no chance that he can beat Cody, forget what he's telling the cameras. He may be thinking something completely different from what he's telling us on the feeds. But if Enzo is really scared of Cody, but he also doesn't want to lose Cody's vote, for example, by stabbing Cody in the back, hey, maybe throw this veto competition to Christmas. Let her win it, knowing that she'll take out your biggest target of Cody. And now Enzo can beat Christmas if it comes down to it, and he can probably beat Nicole as well. So there may still be. Now, you got to be a little gutsy. At this stage in the game, not to win a competition that guarantees your safety, not to win a competition that allows you to decide who's going to go to the final 3 with you, that is a gutsy decision to make, but strategically, it's something that easily could work in your favor if you aren't willing to pull the trigger yourself and send your tightest alliance guy out the door instead. Let's see what else. Didn't they hate each other? Top Gun. I'm not even sure who. Seems like everyone in this house has hated each other at different times. Taste the Rainbow. Yeah, who was the comedian they were talking about that always said that? And Karen Garner, Christmas definitely flirts with Memphis. Oh yeah, there's a lot of flirting going on. There's no getting around that. They've flirted a lot, but there's a difference between flirting and showmancing. That's a whole different level. Seriously, what else? Sorry guys, I'm getting a little behind on these. Is Christmas engaged? She has a long-term boyfriend, I think. I don't know. Yeah, y'all know me. I don't keep up with it's hard enough for me to keep up with the relationships in my house last season to try to follow up with other people's. But I think she's got a long-term boyfriend of some sort. Let's see. Amazing Race starts Wednesday. I can't wait. Oh, me too. Maybe I'll do a little bit of that on TVCO talking about Amazing Race. That'd be a lot of fun. Alexander Dean. Janelle came back on a non-all-star season. Yeah, I know. They've brought a few people back every season. And so I have a feeling they'll continue to do that as well. That'd be cool. That'd be fun. The difference between being a vet and being a newbie in that house, night and day. I didn't realize it until I watched this season, and I see so many things thinking, oh, gosh, I wish I'd thought of that when I was in the house, or I wish I hadn't been so nervous about this or that I could have kind of seen beyond what I was thinking at the time. And if I went back in, then I wouldn't worry about this little stuff at the little petty arguments and things like that seem so big when you're in the house. But really, from a bigger picture area, if you can look past those, makes all the difference in the world. And I think that's the difference between an all-star and a newbie. And that's why it was so hard for David to last as long as he did this summer. But I'm glad he did. I got to say, I miss David. It's as much as people criticized him for not necessarily understanding the game and doing a few kind of knuckleheaded moves and all that, he also made for good TV. He was a lot of fun to watch. I personally was cheering for him the whole way through. I miss David. I absolutely wish he was still in there. B-Hoss, I'd love to be on a season with you. B-Hoss, we would make an alliance and we would figure out we would make it to the very end. I don't think I can guarantee it, but I feel pretty comfortable about it. Christmas Santa, how's it coming out of the house and having to catch up with news? Do you think the house guests will have a hard time adjusting to all news? Yeah, it's gonna be weird for them because COVID. They even did little things. Y'all don't realize how, without having any access to the news, how just desperate you become for anything that could tell you anything about what's going on outside. We used to listen to the cars outside and the helicopters flying by and trying to interpret all kinds of stuff from those. I know the house guests have been watching the planes, the Burbank airport's nearby, and watching the number of planes flying by and trying to use that to gauge whether COVID has gotten better or worse. And they think it's gotten better based on more planes flying overhead. Nicole, her HOH letter from Victor said something about how he had gone to Florida to visit his family. So they immediately said, oh, well, COVID must be getting better if he was allowed to travel to Florida. Obviously, there's not major travel restrictions, things like that. So the tiniest little bit of information you latch onto and try to interpret everything from it. But you got COVID, you got the presidential election that's going to take place, a week after they get out of the house that they don't know anything about. So it's hard. It was incredibly hard. When I got out of the house, first question I had is, how'd my Aggies do when they played Clemson in football? And then I asked, how was the earthquake? Oh, first question, obviously, is my family okay? And they wouldn't even tell me that at the time. They said, Cliff, if there was a problem with your family, we'd tell you. Just trust us on that. So until the finale wrapped and all, I didn't even get that bit of information. But yeah, it drove me crazy not having access to the outside world. B-House, thank you for the animation. I appreciate it so much. And Teresa G. and Christmas, thank y'all. Are you fed information in the diary room? Mouths of Mommy's asking. Are you told things you didn't know? No, none whatsoever. And I know people always have said, oh, it's scripted and things like that. No, it's not really. There's a lot of conversations that take place in there where, we're asked, hey, talk about all the scenarios that could happen. What you think, you told us yesterday, you think so-and-so is going to go home. What if they don't go home? What if someone else goes home instead? And the idea is they want us to talk about all the different scenarios so they can then have us saying, oh, if I'm wrong, then I'm really in trouble. They want as much bites of information or videos they can get. So there's a lot of Q&A of that sort of, oh, walk us through your thought process and all. But there's also always been a lot of talk when I was in there saying, Cliff, don't tell us what you think we want to hear. Tell us what's going on. Give us in your words what you think's happening here and there. And so you get a lot of that. Did they feed us information? No, but there was always a lot of us always wondering, saying, oh, they sure spent a lot of time asking about what do I think about so-and-so's relationship and hanging out so much in the HOH room with so-and-so. Are they asking that because there's some kind of secret alliance that we don't know about? So you can't help but try to get paranoid and build your own assumptions based on what questions you're being asked. But at the end of the day, I really think it's just a matter of them trying to ask as many different questions as they can so they have this huge amount of video so they can put it all together and create the stories that we see on the CBS episodes. But no, it's never scripted, and at least for me, they never fed me any information whatsoever. They ask a lot of questions, but they never fed me any information. Amers 96. What's the craziest rule you had while living in the house? I don't know. Not being able to sing, I get, but even humming and whistling was kind of tough. I tell you, the one that drove me crazy was we weren't allowed to do anything in there. In the backyard, one time they didn't set up the washing machine correctly, and I looked back there and I could see there was a hose that just wasn't screwed on where it needed to go, so the water was going out all over the fake grass yard instead of into the drain. And I said, oh, it's right there. All I have to do is just push the washer aside, crawl back there, screw that hose together, and it's good, and we can use the washer. I tried that, and I got called out so quick, said, stop that. And I tried it anyway, and I said, Cliff, stop that. So we weren't allowed to do that. I wanted to fix the kitchen sink one time because it was clogged up, and I knew it was the P-trap underneath. I just had, if I could just unscrew that, I could unclog it, and it'd be perfect. No. And I don't know if it's because they don't want house guests messing with anything, potentially getting hurt. It could be union rules or something for all I know, but yeah, it drove me crazy. I wasn't even allowed to change out light bulbs or anything. I'm a handyman. Hey, just give me a package of light bulbs. I would have gone through the house and fixed some things, and give me a screwdriver. I would have fixed all kinds of little things here and there, but no, we weren't allowed to do any of that. Give us some behind the scenes secrets. Well, let's see. I told y'all about that one. I've said this many times. The thing that surprised me more than anything else was that we only got the backyard a couple of days a week. That was a tough one. The other behind-the-scenes secrets, I don't know. I can't really think of that many. Again, they played music every once in a while, but we couldn't talk game during those points in time. But beyond that, hey, when you get 24/7, there's not a whole lot of secrets to be had. What'd you think of Mickey from Big Brother 21? He was a strong competition comp player, wasn't he? I knew from day one that he was someone that could carry me a long way through the game. That I felt like he was social enough and athletic enough that he was someone I wanted to work with, and it helped. It's just he was so good that we didn't cut him when we should have at the end, and didn't get enough chances to come at the end. But hey, more power to him from a competition standpoint. Our COVID test still done for the house guest. As far as I know, as of a week ago, I think they were still talking. I think it's every Tuesday they do the testing, so I assume so. It doesn't sound like any fun whatsoever. And I never did hear if someone tested positive, what does that do to the game, do the house guest? We never heard the what ifs in case the test didn't go the way they wanted. But I guess the fact they're all still in there is suggesting that, think how great it is that we were able to actually see Big Brother with everything that was going on. You look at the NFL and all the teams are suspending games and all of that. They did what they had to do to get these house guests all protected inside this bubble, and they're going to get a season out of it, even in such bad situations and bad circumstances. Alpha Cat, who do you think is playing the best game so far? It's got to be Cody, right? I mean, he's just you look at all the alliances, they're the wise guys. There was a conversation yesterday about who is the most dangerous threat. Is it Enzo and Cody, or is it Cody and Nicole? Well, what's a common bond between those? It's Cody. Cody's got all of these connections. No one really feels like they aren't connected with Cody to some degree. So Cody's played an amazing game. It helped that he won that first HOH and was able to consolidate power so early in the process. But I give it to the guy. It's made for some boring play because he's been in control so much. But I definitely think he's playing the best game so far. Alexander Dan, I know one day they'll do a Big Brother season with the players have access to make phone calls with their family members. Perhaps they're just so worried that someone is going to spill the beans and say something that they shouldn't say for that thing. All right, I'll give you a little behind the scenes deal. After I was evicted, came in 4th place, we have to do all kinds of press and interviews and things like that. Well, because I was still on the jury and hadn't voted yet for the winner, I did all my press interviews and everything, but I wasn't allowed to actually talk to any of the people conducting the interviews. They would submit all their questions. Some random anonymous person at CBS would read the questions to me. I would then answer the questions back to them and give my answer. It was correct answer, but that way CBS could control the information that was coming to me so that some reporter couldn't blurt out something that I wasn't supposed to know and all of that. So they were very strict on the information containment throughout the entire process. So that's the one thing about having the phone calls. I don't necessarily see phone calls. I see maybe, I don't know. I guess you could do it on some kind of time delay or something where they could stop a family member if they weren't supposed to say something. But I know they're very strict and specific, even on those HOH letters, about what my family could say or not say within the letter, so that nothing was being revealed that shouldn't be revealed, things like that. So there's a whole lot of behind the scenes people that are looking at every little bit of that to make sure that no one's getting an unfair advantage, unless you got a connection before you ever came into the house, and then all bets are off. I guess that's okay, right? I shouldn't give a hard time. It was unfortunate, but hey, it is what it is. You deal with, expect the unexpected, right? Why no jury feeds? And someone said before, I think I never actually got around to answering it, how cool it would be if we had cameras in the jury house. I agree. I'd love to see what actually goes on inside the jury house. Having not been there myself, I don't really know much more than y'all do other than talking to the people that were in there. But yeah, I'd love to just see a little bit more about their interactions from the day to day. I know they were told that they weren't supposed to talk about the game except when cameras were there to record them having conversations about the game. Getting up, going in, getting something from the kitchen. If you saw someone else, you weren't supposed to talk about game. I don't know how much of that actually happened or didn't. It seems like it'd be hard not to have that occurring. But they had a lot of handlers that were keeping track of people in there and everything else, apparently. It's my understanding. So, yeah, but I'd love to see some cameras in there. I'd kind of like to see a little bit more about the jury house. That's the one thing that I realized as I watch my season. I haven't watched this season of All Stars. I haven't watched my entire season. I haven't seen the last half. And as a result, I haven't seen any of the segments from the jury as new people are coming into the house and they're saying, oh, I can't believe they booted you and all. I've missed all of that. I need to go back and see what happens when Christy shows up, when Kat shows up and Jack's sitting there. So I need to go check some of those out. Bell 609, will you be interviewing any of the house guests here on TVCO? I don't know. I haven't done interviews on here in the past. But now that we've changed the format a little bit, now that we're streaming on these different platforms and some things behind the scenes have changed, it gives me a little more capability. I may bring on a guest or two. And yeah, I don't know. Eric and Nicole do a lot of the guest interviews on their show on TVCO, and they do such a good job with it that I may let them do their thing. But I'd love to bring on some of these people and not talk about gameplay and things like that. Just talk about some of the oddball sides of it. Hey, well, what do you think about that food? What do you think about so-and-so's cooking? Ask the questions that no one else ever thinks to ask. But as a fan that I've always wondered about as well. So, yeah, I may do a few of those, but I don't know. We'll just have to see what happens going forward. 8:53. All right, we're going to – wow, it goes so fast, guys. Top Gun Phantom. Lakers won the NBA Finals. Well, in memoriam to Kobe and all of that seems kind of fitting. So congrats to the Lakers. Hey, Robin Cass, she's a huge Lakers fan, so I know she's happy and dancing a happy tune as a result of it. My Rockets were out a while back. I haven't really paid much attention since then. Top Gun Phantom, do you have the DVDs? No, we don't. They used to hand out DVDs of the season, no more. But now that we got DVRs, I've got Big Brother After Dark. I've got the season, everything else out there, and so I'm creating my own DVDs. But yeah, we don't ever get the season the way we used to. Here's something that a lot of y'all may not know, and I'll say this real quick. I'm not the first person in my family that was on reality TV. My youngest brother, Bowie's 13 years younger. He was on the very first season of The Apprentice, Donald Trump show from way back, 2001, I think was when he was on it. So he was on The Apprentice and lasted 4 episodes. He was the 4th person booted from that show, fired by Donald Trump. And sibling rivalry. As soon as he made it on, I said, well, I gotta go on reality TV now that my brother Bowie's done it. But when Bowie got out of the show, because it was the first season, they put out a box set of DVDs of his season. He had actually a video game created that had his likeness in the video game and all of that. Well, by the time you get to season of 21 of Big Brother, not quite the same situation. So no DVDs or anything else. But trust me, I got hours and hours and hours recorded, and so. Yeah, I'm not missing out on that. Malta Mommy, oh my gosh, you need to watch your season. Yeah, I know, and when I first got home, it was just too fresh. I couldn't do it. Even now, when I watch clips from my season, all those memories come back up. I have every bit of it memorized. I mean, I know exactly what I was thinking, good or bad. It just brings up the stress levels, and I just haven't quite gotten around to doing it. It's kind of one of those, been there, done that. I know what was going on, but yeah, eventually I'll get around to it. Is Memphis playing a bad game? Top Gun Phantom asked. Well, first of all, Alexander Dean, would you ever go on Eric and Nicole's show? Yeah, absolutely. I've gone on Nicole's show, and when I first got out last season, I went on Eric's show as well. But yeah, I don't think they want me back. They just think I talk too much and won't let them get a word in edgewise. I'd love to come back. Is Memphis playing? And I'm just joking about that. I love Eric and Nicole. Is Memphis playing a bad game? No, I don't think he's playing a bad game. I think Memphis played a strategic game. He jumped in there. He created the committee, the commission. He's really the originator of all this group coming together. He's odd man out right now is his issue. I said last season that at the end you have to win a few competitions if you expect to survive and to win, and that's where Memphis is at. He needs to win. Well, maybe too late now. He needed to win 1 or 2 more competitions to ensure he got to the very end. He's a little abrasive. I'm not sure that his social game was quite what it needed to be, but his strategic game, spot on. I don't have any huge issues with the strategic game. He just had to be a little friendlier at times. All right. Let's see, 2004. But was it 2004, David? Maybe. I thought it was a little earlier than that, but hey, years go by. All right. So, yeah, Bowie, like David Bowie, absolutely, youngest brother. We ran out of that. Yeah, Bowie Hogg was season 1 of The Apprentice. All right, let's see. Let me go. Will you watch with your kids? Yeah, I'll watch with them. We'll watch an episode here and there. All right, let me do one quick thing. First of all, again, congratulations to Courtney J for the $50 gift card. Make sure you check your DMs and buy something cool. Along with that, contributors, I just want to thank y'all. Chicky D, Bell 609, B Haas, Cross Track, Lefty Ambition, Teresa G, Christmas. Thank all of y'all for the animations, for the tips. I so appreciate it. I appreciate all of y'all for coming out here and thank you for the questions. I love answering questions, talking Big Brother. Again, I was a fan before I was on the show, and now I'm back to being a fan, and this is just nirvana for me. So thank y'all all so much for that. Chicky D, I love y'all too. I'm so privileged to be able to come out here and talk Big Brother. So thank y'all so much. And Bihas, thank you for the tip. All right, guys, it is. Oh, okay. I was just told on YouTube we had 30 viewers. Guys, thank y'all and welcome aboard as well. I love that we're branching out and we're getting some more platforms involved in the process. So thank y'all so much. I appreciate it. And let's see what else is going on. Thank you, Malta Mommy. Hey, welcome. Thanks. I hope to see you out here again. And yeah, Belle, I may do something after Amazing Race. We'll see. I don't know. Staying up all night long doing these overnight feeds has been a little tough as it is. All right, one final thing I do want to mention while I have a chance. On Wednesday, I'm going to be doing Life After Neverland, the TVCO show on Wednesday. I'll be talking to them a little bit about Big Brother this season. So find their show on TVCO as well. I can't remember the time. I think it's either 7 o'clock Eastern time, 8 o'clock. I don't know. Yeah, find the TVCO schedule and find it out there. But we'll see you on Wednesday. And again, I'll also be doing my morning updates. So guys, I appreciate it. Thank y'all for coming on board. We're almost through with Big Brother. Can y'all believe that? We're on day 68, 69 now. we're getting right towards the end. And then we've got another. Think of it this way, at least we don't have a whole year to wait. We'll be doing summer. Big Brother season will be here before you know it. They'll start casting calls probably, February, March or so. So right around the corner. All right, guys, y'all have a fantastic week. I will be back here again on Monday next week. And y'all have a fantastic week. In the meanwhile, stay safe. Hug your loved ones. SKD 143. Love my wife. Love my kids. Love all the fellow Big Brother fans out there. Y'all have a great one, guys. Cheers. Good night.